What about Call of Duty and Counter-Strike? Well, at that point, I'm like, I can go. I don't have no problem learning about them, but I'm a sports person. I know sports, and
there you go.
If you know sports, if you know sports, you know sports. If you don't know sports, you don't know sports, right? So it was clear why the sports genre of esports wasn't as popular, and it's because of access, right? If you have other games and they're on PCs and there's a lot of individuals there, that is, you're going to have a lot more people involved inside of that, especially if it's affluent. Well, in our area, it's not as much. There's a greater alternative to go outside and play versus playing a sports game here or actually taking it serious. So for me, I was just like, well, this is a great opportunity to build up the sports game scene in this area and kind of like have to be forced to be efficient because you're not going to get no large investment on the sports scene. So I was just like, well, we just got to show value by creating ourselves. And I started realizing really quickly that, the sports game scene is still very 1v1-ish. And a lot of the games are 1v1-ish. And I just got the phone just a minute ago a meeting about that. And when I seen 2K and incorporating 5v5, I was like, oh, man, finally, this is like the perfect opportunity to be on the same type of playing field as your Counter-Strikes and your Dotas and things like the League of Legends and like that. And so I was like, perfect. Finally I can do something I know, I love, and I can be really involved in this industry, and I can have an impact on the people who look like me or in my geographic location. And so utilizing that space, we just recognized, there's some huge competitive spirits inside of here. This is really awesome to come into a building like this little small loft, and everybody feels like it was like B-Rad, Rabbit, and 8 Mile. Like that feeling of being in this small location, everybody's there, and the people knocking on the wall. And I was able to take that and leverage that when making deals with saying, look at this space and look how crazy it is in here. And when it comes down to open up a bigger facility, this is what we can expect inside of this facility. And it's about being connected to the actual culture of the individuals. And that's something that was really, really big for me, is actually being in there with everybody. And granted, I have a CEO title, but not with the perspective of what people think of CEOs. My CEOs in my lifetime look, with my uncles, they dirty, they get to it.
They do everything,
hours, they're my CEOs, so I am not going to be any different, so I'm continuously going to be connected in the community and be, and work just as hard as everybody else for what they're trying to accomplish. So ultimately, it was, here's this big space. We need this big space because we're getting overcrowded in our little small space. And at that point, we recognized that, this is something that could be really impactful for our full community. And being in that small location in downtown Dallas, I was able to recognize, all right, well, the people who come in this space, that travel from Southern, they're coming here, and then there are people coming from the Northern and the West and the East, and they're coming in the space. And I was just like, where's the actual, why is it so intense and so dope in this space? And I was just like, well, actually, it's the entertainment that's coming from, the Southern sector, which is particularly minority. And when you think of basketball and football and things like that, it's the same, It's
really, a big draw,
So, and this is, I was like, well, it's easier for me to bring it over, build a building in this area where it's more accessible, and anybody who has, the ability to travel, and they'll come over here because the competition is over there, excitement is over here. And I looked at that as I'd rather much do that than make it inaccessible for individuals who just do not have the capabilities to make that commitment and that drive. And that was one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah. And Geekletes, the esports ecosystem is separated through education, competition, and entrepreneurship. Can you talk on those three pillars for just a brief second? Because I want to ask you about your partnerships that you've been able to accomplish since the corona academic. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So academic was very critical. We wanted to focus in on how do we get the students engaged in the outside of just the classroom. I know when I was in school, school was just really boring to me. My mom and people use like, you're just so smart, so you're not focused in school, and I'm just like, I'll take that, but it's still boring to me. So I looked at it the perspective of like okay, how do you take something that individuals love, which is gaming, and then you give a carrot, and that carrot is education. And then they take it and they can be able to say, wow, I didn't even know I was learning from this. And for us, that's where we really want to be able to focus in on, is applying the management components, the technology, the competition, the production, and the marketing components. All of those together breed esports. It's all of those components inside of there. And then we can ultimately say, well, if you learn all of these components, you can be in this industry and you can game just as much. And I think for us, that's one of the biggest reasons why we wanted to offer our after-school and summer programs. Granted, COVID kind of like knocked that all off, because we had set everything up, and then we just got emails from schools that, we're going to bus their kids to our location and go through our after-school programs. And I was just like, man, this is brutal. But ultimately, it allowed us to put it online. Now we're in a full content creation mode where everything that we prepare for, we had already done it. So now it's just about making it accessible online.
And with that, making it accessible, man, you've done so many partnerships, man. Can we talk about the Marine Corps, that whole partnership on education, man? Because I'm a teacher, we gotta go that route.
Yes, exactly. I had a little aversion at first. Granted, I've made connections for a long time. I'm a long-term connection seeker, and I had literally a aversion. I was like, Marines and the service coming into the community and using it as a recruitment tool. I just didn't get it at first, and I was just like, so I asked so many people. I was like, what is this? Like, is this just a money grab? And I had to really sit down and talk to individuals. I was like, actually, the Marines is no different than Geekletes. They're providing opportunities for individuals who don't have it, And so when I started interacting with Michael, I started really learning a lot of components with it. And I was just like, if Geekletes is a platform that gives opportunity, why not be able to interact with other platforms that provide opportunity? Some people may not want to go into the industry of esports. Some individuals may want to go into technology, and they may need the discipline to go into the Marines. And that's something that they may need, and I can't be able to be that person that doesn't open up the lines of opportunity for the individuals in our geographic location. So when I approached the Marines, I was like, here's what we're doing. We have an education component to it. We're going to push it out via that of live stream, and kids in our area need to see this. And when I first approached them, it was like an automatic, like, yes, we are in the same boat. We feel the same exact way. We really want to provide opportunity, discipline, critical thinking, braveness, all of those components that I align Geekletes with. I looked at it as like, I never want to interact with a company that don't have those same type of values. So when they said, hey, we have the same values, I ultimately as an entity, I was just like, man, this is cool from a sponsorship perspective, because now I know who to align ourselves with in the future as well. As a young CEO and founder, I was like, man, this is a great opportunity now to be able to say, we've worked with this entity and we can find other entities in which we work with and build and grow with for the future.
I have to tell you, Danny, it's been amazing content, man. I've been watching, and y'all have been doing some great things, especially that whole 24-hour run, man. That was insane. Doing a whole day of content and information, man, and we need it. We need it bad. I'm gonna say this statement, and then I'm gonna let you plug away, man, because I know you have a lot of things that you're working on. Once again, I appreciate you for coming on. I have to get you back. I want to do a whole podcast about your whole 2K experience, man, and diving into that, due to the demographics and how you did it. Because I just want to know. I'm trying to do the same thing. Because I'm dealing with the same demographic, and I'm real heavy on sports. The high school that I teach at is it's the most winningest high school in Louisiana sports history. So the culture is already there. It's just a matter of us figuring out that 2K component. And we're on the way. Yeah, it's cultivating it. And we're on the way. We had got some grants and some small investments, and we're on the way building a 3,000 square foot room into a 5v5. 2K heavy esports and media room, man. So,
I'm telling
with that
it's
said,
crazy when you see it all.
Man, it's crazy just to see your highlights on your videos, man. And my principal and I, we were already discussing coming up to see you guys this summer, busting some kids up. Especially the kids that play that 1v1 style with high school esports league, because I had probably the top 5 kids in the country, man. And it's just perfect, man. So just plug away. I just had to say that before the show ended, but plug away. Tell us how to get in contact with you, what you're doing online, website.
Yeah,
floor is yours.
For sure, man. Everybody that's listening in, clearly you have interest in esports, and the biggest takeaway that I give, you haven't got it from this whole show, is consistency and providing value. Esports is a beast within itself, but it's built on organic relationships and authenticity. The gamers can recognize it. The people within the actual industry can recognize it. So just provide value, and that's your best way of showing your authentic, true understanding and compassion for this space. It's growing, but there's still a long way to go. So as you're listening to this, really focus in on how do you provide value? And ultimately, you just make that value, you take that value and you make it exponential, right? And so in this instance, that's the biggest thing. So for me, you can easily be able to find Geekletes on every social media channel, GeekLetes. And ultimately, for me, I'm learning how to get, with the whole COVID, it just made me get out there more because I'm usually in the background, so using social media channels is not me. I just started using LinkedIn, so you can find me at Danny Ray Martin on LinkedIn and DMartinGG on Twitter. So I'm trying to really use those more, but I also see it's very good. It's a good experience. So definitely, I try to be as open, connected. I try to reach out to every individual I see that has potential. Also, I try to read and engage with everybody who seems to be met. This is a full-time, this is a 24-hour job in esports, and I literally go to sleep thinking about what's going on, and I wake up and I engage with everybody I possibly can because I really love it. So do not be afraid to reach out to me. If I do not reach back out to you, it's because it's in my queue. And I definitely will, because everybody is valuable, whether you're learning what not to do or whether you're learning what to do.
That's awesome, Danny, man. Thanks again, man. I wish you the best, man. Blessings to you and your staff. And I hope y'all keep going and keep striving, man. Yeah, we definitely will. You got to be agile, especially in times like this. It shows you who really wants it, Yeah, for sure, man. And like you said, man, I go to sleep and wake up thinking about it, too. I think my wife's starting to get mad. I think she thinks I'm cheating with esports, man. Well, welcome to the dark side. There you go, man. But I enjoyed you, man. Thanks for coming on, man. Yes, for sure. Vice versa. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's pretty awesome. Thanks, man.
This was another episode of Go Play Esports with Christopher Turner. Follow him on Twitter at Turner_CP.